We are live.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know how to flip that.
Y'all can look at
But they're sideways on that. Hey guys! So we're trying to like multitask, see ourselves at the same time.
But they're sideways.
Oh, people are coming in.
So we're trying to like
Oh, okay. We are here with Thirsty Thursdays. This is a Little Fires Everywhere Spirit Week, and we have made it all the way to Thursday. Monday, we had our What Would Jesus Do Versus Challenge. Tuesday was our Tiny Desk Tuesday concert with Call Me Lexi. Last night was our Wild Night Wednesday, and tonight... Oh, they said we in here deep. Yes, we are in here deep. We've got a panel today, and today is Thirsty Thursday, where we're going to have a question and answer relationship panel for the teens. So as you guys are coming in, just say hey, say what location you're watching from. Yeah. And then also, sorry, I get easily distracted. So there's also going to be like a little question box at the bottom where you guys are going to be able to drop your questions. We have a couple already prepared, but we really want to get you guys the answers that you guys have questions for. So make sure that you guys are dropping those below. I'm going to let our lovely panelists introduce themselves while we wait for more people to join us.
Wow.
All right, what's up, everybody? I am Michael Brasfield. I'm one of the volunteers for the NY Friction and ATL, so shout out to the ATL campus. And then also, I am a husband, so I'm in a relationship.
This is small one. Hey everybody, my name is Chanel Brasfield, and I'm in a relationship with him. We're married. We attend the Atlanta campus, and I am here pumped and ready to go.
My name is Amos Landers. I'm also a volunteer here with the NY Youth, and I'm single, and I'm just excited to be here and answer you all's questions.
Hey everybody, my name is Virginique, and I am one of the volunteers for NY Youth as well. I am dating, and I am ready to answer your questions.
Okay, so those are our lovely panelists. So again, make sure that you guys are dropping your questions below. We kind of did a survey and got some questions beforehand, but as you guys feel led, as these conversations spark new ideas, make sure that you're putting them in there because we really want to make sure that this is everything that you want it to be. So we're gonna start off, we know that there are different types of relationships. So in the comments, I want you guys to put down the different types of relationships you know of. And share, yes. Woohoo! Share the video. So, of course, there are romantic relationships. We have up here married couples, dating couples, singles. But there are also friendships.
Yes.
There are work relationships. So we have coworkers, business partners. And then we also have, did I say friendships already?
You did?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Family relationships. So our family relationships are actually our foundational relationships. That's how we learn how to interact and have interpersonal connections with other people. So I think that's a good place for us to start off with our questions. So you know what? I'm going to go behind the scenes and I'm going to ask the questions while they take over. So see you guys later. So one of the questions that we got has to deal with family relationships. So the question is, and you guys can answer just as you feel led. There's no particular order that you guys have to go in. Someone said, my mom always thinks that when I give my opinion, I'm being disrespectful. So how can I like disagree with what she says or say what I'm thinking without her thinking that I'm talking back?
I can take that one.
I've had it.
So I believe when expressing your feelings, especially to a person of authority like your parents, there's three things that I want you to remember or keep in mind. There is a time, a tone, and a posture. Okay? So, time. We'll start with time first. If you see that your parents are angry, right? You see that they have an attitude. Maybe they had a stressful day. Maybe it is not the time for you to give your opinion at that point, right? Allow them to cool off and allow them to take some time to cool down before you approach them. Second one, tone. Anything that is communicated, right? A lot of people go off of the tone that you give it in, right? So if I want to communicate something to my wife, if I'm yelling at her, automatically she's going to feel some type of way, right? So with your parent, they need to be de-armed when you're approaching them. So remember to check your tone before coming to your parents, right? And then finally, posture. And when I say posture, you can be talking all nice as nice as you want to talk, right? But if your hands is all, mama, this is what I'm about to do, so on and so forth, you clapping at your mama, but you talking calm, that's not the right posture, okay? Just remember that when you come to your parents, they are a person of authority and you want to come to them respectfully. So just remember time, tone, and posture.
That was good. That was good.
Really good.
Anybody else?
I agree with everything he just said.
He had it in the bag, huh?
I'll add one thing to what Mike said, because that was perfect. You hit everything on the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But I would add also, like, whenever you're disagreeing with your parents, always assess what it is that's going on before you just react to a situation. A lot of times parents tell us no when they tell us not now, because they know what's out there and they've lived the life that we're currently living. So a lot of times when they disagree, it's not that they don't want us to have fun or they don't want us to have a life, but they want to protect us. And so I think that it's very important to know where they're coming from as well before you just disagree. Sometimes you may be right, but always go back and assess your feelings. Are they valid? Is it the right time? Is it the right tone? And is it the right posture?
Thanks.
Okay. So our next question is, so I did something a while back that I got in a lot of trouble for. Now my parents don't trust me. What can I do to get my freedom back? So they took everything away. They don't let you go anywhere. What can you do to get that trust back? That's an Amos question.
I can honestly say I feel like you have to remember, number one, that your parents love you so much they would fight for you. I've heard some people say, like, I would give my last breath to my daughter. Like, they just love their kids. So that's the first thing. Just remember when it comes to priorities, you are your parents' top priority.
That's true.
So however you see your parents treat their coworkers, however you see them treat even their belongings, you above all else are their most valuable possession. So that's number one. Number two, so first of all, that's the identity you need to see yourself when you're looking at the way that your parents are looking at you. The second thing is you also need to remember that number two is just the fact that, like, your parents, the same way that the Bible, God says, ask and you shall receive, and then later in the Bible it says, ask and keep asking. And even it talks about, like, if you keep asking, how is God going to keep himself from giving more to you, giving what you're asking for? So even when it comes to your parents, if there's a certain amount of trust that you want from them, or even just that freedom that you're looking for, I'm going to say, don't stop loving them. Don't stop asking forgiveness. Don't stop trying. Don't stop seeking. Because no matter what you're looking for in life, even if it is God's love or your parents' love, don't stop seeking, don't stop trying, keep asking, and keep asking.
That was good.
That was really good.
Anybody else?
I would say if you've lost their trust and you're trying to regain that, you can start by doing small things around the house. Asking them, do they need help with cooking dinner? Some practical things. Asking them how their day was. Do they need help with anything? That's some ways. Like, I feel like when you manage small responsibilities, then you'll get bigger things. The Bible says be faithful with the few. So if you're being faithful with, like, the small things that your parents are asking you to do, then they'll start saying, okay, maybe I can add this piece, or maybe I can add that piece. But you definitely have to show that you're ready to be trusted, and you can manage and steward well whatever that you're asking for.
Yeah, that's good. I saw someone in the comments said to intentionally build a new reputation. So again, doing those small things to kind of rebuild how they view the situation. One more for relationships. So I know we have some older teens in our crews. So someone asked, my parents want me to go to college, but I don't know if I even want to keep going to school. How can I talk about it with them?
Honestly, I think, I will say this. There are tons of different ways for you to become successful. You can become an entrepreneur. There's different trades that you can learn. What I would say, because your parents definitely want the best for you, and I think that's what all parents want, is to make sure that their children are sustainable. Do your research. I think if you come to your parents with all of the research that you've accumulated and say, Mom, Dad, these are the different avenues that I would like to take outside of, I just don't want to go to school. Because if your parents say, if you come to your parents, you tell them, I don't want to go to school, or I don't want to pursue my education, they're going to be like, so what else you going to do? Because you're not going to stay in my house, right?
Exactly.
So coming up with other avenues, other opportunities for you to make a career for yourself, that's going to be the thing that I think is going to penetrate your parents is most, as opposed to just coming and saying you don't want to go do school anymore. So just keep that in mind, do your research, come with different options, and present those to your parents.
Okay. That was good. And I think that shows like a level of maturity and responsibility as well that I think parents can appreciate. And it shows that, the things that we want to do, we actually value. And so kind of transitioning to friendships and the things that we should value in that, someone asked, how do I stand up for what I believe in without offending other people?
I would like to say first and foremost, you're going to offend them. It's actually part of the process. If you're not offending people, you're probably doing it wrong. Because not everyone agrees with the right decisions all the time, but I can honestly say from my own experience, one thing I can say a simple story. When I was in college and I had a really close friend, and I'd been putting a lot of hours studying for a certain test, and we get to the exam and they're sitting next to me and they asked me to cheat off my test. And it wasn't like something we had talked about beforehand. They put it on me on the spot in that moment with the proctor, with the teacher, with the student, with it being dead silent in the room. And I looked at him and I kind of gave him a look like, no, like I'm not gonna let you cheat off of me. But in the moment, at the time, it was like, this is my, like, we were really, really close friends. Of course, it's one of those things where he's got my back, I got his. So it wasn't really a question to him of if I was gonna let him cheat. But in that moment, I really just had to let him know, boom, like this is what I do. And then it wasn't until months later that he even brought it up, saying that he actually stopped cheating himself and actually started studying more, getting better grades, just because I kind of like set that standard. So honestly, all I could say is, if you're trying to worry about offending people, you're going to offend people, especially when you're doing the right thing, because Jesus literally did nothing wrong and offended an entire city. So
Still offending people.
But after the fact, after you rise up, that's when everyone's gonna realize the glory that was always on you.
Okay.
Shout out to the Falcons.
Anyone else?
Really?
Anyone else want to add to that?
I could add a small piece to that. So especially being a young adult or a young person, trying to do what everybody else isn't doing, it's kind of hard. So especially with close friends, y'all kicked it, whoop-de-whoop, y'all best friends, and now it's like, oh, you don't want to whatever anymore. Mm-hmm. I believe, and even I've had to go through it, is literally just living it. Not, because the word says that people will know that we're followers of God or that we love Him. We're followers of Christ by our love. So if you're literally living out what you believe, but not bashing other people because they aren't doing what you chose not to do, you'll see a shift in them, and you won't have to work so hard. Like, how transparent can I get?
That's cool.
Okay, so for example, drugs or drinking or whatever. So if you just like, I don't really rock with that. I can have a good time without that. But your friends are like, what's the problem? You don't have to beat them over the head with the word in the moment. However, you just living out your values and living out what you know to be true. People will see that. People take hold of what they can see more than what you tell them. Actions speak way louder than words. So remember that. So if you're in a group of your friends, you're like, I don't really want to do that. Y'all go ahead, but I don't want to do that. They'll see it. Especially if they respect you as a person. And if you love them, they're like, oh, she cool. She don't do that, but in them, the work that we can't see is what we try to dictate. The work that we can't see in people is what we try to control. So it's like, my friend's still doing this and I want to change them. Mm-hmm. You don't know the change that's going on in their hearts or in their minds because of what they see you do or don't do. So rest in that.
That's a really good answer.
That is a good answer. Okay, so I'm gonna give one more question and then we're getting some in. Guys, remember to put your questions in the chat so we can get to them. So you mentioned, when we're trying to live a changed life and we have friends that might be trying to influence us to do things that we shouldn't do or that we don't feel comfortable doing. And then we start to feel like maybe we should start to be around more like-minded people. How would you go about making new friends without your old friends feeling like you're being fake?
Please.
Okay. I feel like if you have a group of friends, but you're trying to branch off and do something new, you can already expect that old group of friends, their perspective isn't right. So even when they're angry, even when they're upset that you're branching off into new groups of people, I wouldn't even pay it any mind. Like Amy said, people are always going to be offended. People are literally always going to have something to say about what you do, whether it's right or wrong. But I think sometimes we focus so much on the negative things that people say when it's like so many people cheering us on, so many people who are, rooting for us. It's almost as if we're focused on the negative things. So I would say don't even pay it any mind. You have to do what you have to do for yourself. And I think that if they're your friends and if they truly want to see you successful and growing in your faith and just in your interpersonal development and your relationships, then they're going to clap for you and they're going to be glad that you are making those changes. And if they're not, if they're salty, if they feel away, then I don't really think they were your friends.
True. Okay. We have a question from a parent. It says, as a parent, how do I get over the fact that my child chose the wrong thing when I've shown them the right path?
Oh, I have.
I could go for days talking about that.
I know. Something just hit me so much. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I feel like whenever I heard you say that question, I was thinking about like how many times we get it wrong with God. Like God literally set the Bible there for us. Everything we have to do is written. He's given us his spirit. He's given us everything that we need to live a life of godliness. And it's always, not always, but it's almost like when he gives us the right answer, the right option, we always go off and do something else. And it's like God's love is patient. And he really embodies like the love of a father. So in that question, I would just say, just be patient with them. Don't give up on them. Just like we're learning and our relationship with God is growing and God is being able to trust us with things, you have to display that in your relationship with your children. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult because we've been there and we like, just do what I say do. But I think, God's patience and grace for us gives us that ability to be that for other people.
I also think that you have to rest in the fact that you've been obedient to the Lord. If you've done everything in regards to raising your child in the right way, I know the Bible says, raise a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, he won't depart, right? So with that being said, like, you have to trust that the Lord is ordering their steps as well. Just like the prodigal son, even though he strayed from the path, God was able to restore him when he came home. Yeah. So just be there, be attentive, and be obedient to the Holy Spirit, because when your child is ready to come back, you don't want them to come back with offense in your heart because they didn't stay on the path that you thought they should go. So just be obedient to the Lord, and again, when they are ready to turn and do what the Lord is calling them to do, you'll be ready to receive them.
That's good. I'm trying to type in there and be. Go ahead.
If I could, that's a small thing. I'm not a parent, so I can't, kind of come from that place, but I can come from a child who has done many things that I was told not to do. A lot on purpose. But so I always think about, like, my parent was once me. Like, my mama knows me inside and out. I don't even have to say anything, and she knows what I did or what I'm thinking about doing, because either she did it or just mamas just be knowing. So as a child, we are going to get into things. They're going to have questions that we don't even understand that our parents can probably answer for us. Like a lot of the stuff that I went through, I was like, I'm not asking my mom that because that's weird, and she probably not gonna be able to answer this question for me. But knowing also, like what Reginique said, how many times God has forgiven us for doing the exact opposite of what He said on purpose multiple times. And it really teaches you patience. It teaches you faith on both ends. Like as a child, I'd be like, dang, my mama, I didn't get in trouble that time. Let me try it again. So even though my mama knew, she just kind of let me learn and let me go. Kind of goes with God giving us free will. Not saying that our children or us as people should just go act a fool, but we do have free will. And if your child has been taught by you, if they've watched you, if they've learned from you, because we know, children know.
They watch everything.
If mama has set a good example, I'm going to do what my mama has done just innately. If daddy or grandparent, whomever is raising me, has done a good job example-wise, I'm going to go back that way because I saw grandma do it. I saw mama do it. I saw daddy do it. So rest in the fact that your children have been raised by you well, that you have done a good job, and that you have not messed up.
May you ask the question one more time? Because I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly.
So it was, as a parent, how do I get over the fact that a child chose the wrong thing when we've shown them the right path?
Okay, so I can actually say, personal experience, my parents made sure that me and all my other 3 siblings were in private school majority of our lives. I think I went to public school maybe 2 years out of my entire life, from kindergarten, 12th grade, and even then, after those 2 years of public school, it was like time to go back to private school. Like, this is just, I'm not becoming a good person. It's just not turning out well. And then even with all that going on, I remember it wasn't even until college that I actually really dedicated my life to God, our freshman year. And then even after that, like all my siblings, we all went to private school, had great parenting, grew up in the church. Basically, my parents did everything they were supposed to do. But even throughout that, I remember when my brother came to college, long story short, my brother, he was a bodybuilder, had hazel eyes. He was that guy. And he was not saved, and he was in college. So I'll let you put the pieces together. But from that, I remember even with all the training, because we literally grew up in the same household, and I'm on the college campus ministering, leading Bible studies, and my brother is doing a completely different lifestyle, even though we grew up in the same house. So I want you to know that even though your children, even though like they might have grown up literally while you're in your prayer closet, they're in another room with the presence in the house, it's still possible for them to still veer off in another direction. But even with that, I actually want to read this verse to you. Deuteronomy 29, verse 29. God, our God, will take care of the hidden things, but the revealed things are our business. So if you've done your business, God will take care of the hidden things. So what my mom didn't know was that even though she knows what my brother's doing in college, and she might even feel a little bit ashamed about it at the time, I was still fighting for my brother. So I remember one night I actually took my brother to a concert, and during the concert, he didn't just get saved. Like, he literally like took his glasses off, had his sight completely restored, like 20/20 vision. Wow. He said the oxygen he was breathing was clear as when he was studying become a fireman, like straight out the oxygen tanks. Like he said, even the atmosphere around him had just changed just from the concert we went to. And ever since that night, he's been completely a changed man of God. But it wasn't because it was like our parents, it wasn't anything that my parents had done or even something I had done. It was simply God took care of the hidden things. So I believe that if you actually do everything that's revealed, no matter how it looks, you should be walking by faith and not by sight. Because your child might completely look like they're going one direction, and God is pulling them with His grace in the other direction.
Isn't this?
So.
Oh my gosh.
That was so good.
Yeah,
Should be three?
Wow.
You just gave it a word.
He's gonna pass the bucket around.
Y'all, this
Right.
whole thing is inside
Stand up for all.
Should I
Come on back over here. You're the other one. Come on.
Guys, I realized that this has been recording sideways the whole time.
Oh.
So we're gonna flip.
Oh, y'all didn't know that.
We are gonna fix it right now. But also, while we're fixing it, please make sure that you are dropping your questions in the box. And nobody told us. Y'all didn't tell us.
Maybe they can just turn their phone sideways.
Wait, yeah, I guess you could turn your phone sideways. We were trying to get everybody in the
Because I don't
screen.
know if it will show us everybody. So
If you guys are okay with it being sideways and just flipping your phone, let us know. If not, if not,
What are they saying? I'm going to look on page.
we're trying to be official, y'all, and it just.
Oh, we.
Yeah, we just gotta keep it sideways.
I vote for fixing it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Maybe if I turn it.
They said they vote for fixing it. Okay, we're gonna fix it.
Let's see if we can fix it.
Just take off the thing, and
Corona. I said no.
we got it. We gonna get it.
Back on there.
DJ said leave it sideways.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
a lot
agree
more
with that.
work to do this part.
I don't think it's well.
It's not bad, they
Yeah, also
said.
flip, yeah.
And this is gonna cut y'all off.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might just
Yeah.
have to work with the trash.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and go with the next question. Thank you, Ariel. Okay, so we're gonna shift gears while we shift this camera to what I think a lot of people were waiting on, but romantic relationships.
Ooh.
So this is it's a simple question, but it's a loaded question. And actually, I'm gonna have everybody answer this one.
Oh, really?
I am. It's not gonna be popcorn. So the question is, how would you define dating?
Who's gonna go first? Maybe the married couple.
Happily married.
Teach
wise
us.
couple. Teach us, please. I believe keep it silent.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to try to answer this question as best I can because I don't know if dating has been defined well by both the church as well as people who are not church members whatsoever. So I'm going to try and define dating as what I see dating as. So for one, I think dating is an intentional action to take time to get to know someone else, right? And when I say intentional, you have to be intentional in what you expect from the dating process. Now, if you're dating outside of intentionality, I think that's more so playing around than it is dating, right? That's you playing with people's feelings and emotions. I think dating is really the act of courting, getting to know somebody, their fears, their likes, their dislikes, so on and so forth, but with the intention to take that relationship to another level eventually. So you shouldn't be wasting your time on anybody calling it dating when you have no intentionality to do anything with them later on in life. That's my definition.
That's a great question. That's a great answer.
And that's also where you get a lot of parents who say, y'all shouldn't be dating right now. I get it, understood. If you have no intentionality of doing anything later on in life, I look at it a different way, but that's a whole different subject. But either way, remember that there should be some intentionality in regards to who you date. And it's also like your friendships as well. You don't want to bring anybody in your circle that's going to take you away from your true self. So if you see somebody that you're dating and they don't have the same values that you do, a whole nother thing as well. But keep that in mind. Be intentional about who you bring in your circles and who you date. That's it.
Oh, y'all together? Okay.
Oh,
I'll go next. Location. I would like to say that when it comes to dating and the definition of it, what is your distance between friendship and intimacy in you all's relationship? Where's that location at? If you want to know that, this next portion is the most important. Communication. You both need to know
you're there.
what is going on. There should be no gray areas. If there's a gray area, you've already lost. If there's a gray area, they're playing with you because they think you're a joke. I'll just put it out there. That one was free. That was free. I'll let you take it before I go off.
How would I define dating? I kind of would go with what Mike said. Dating is being intentional. It's when you are intentionally trying to see if someone is worth being in a relationship with. Do you share the same values? Is this someone that you can see yourself being with long term? That's what I define as dating. Very simple.
Dating. How would I or one define dating? With respect to if you are living in your parents' house, you know, talk to them about what dating means for you. However, on the opposite side of that, dating, to kind of put what everybody said together, it's an intentional getting to know of someone with the exclusivity that it is you and the other person talking in a romantic space, depending on, you know, your age and all that kind of stuff. So communicate with the other person, baby girl, baby boy, men and women of God. If you are in a relationship with somebody that is not in a relationship with you, then you are not dating them. If you think so-and-so is your boyfriend, but he is telling everybody else otherwise, and vice versa, you think baby girl is your girlfriend, and he is telling everybody else otherwise, please believe me. I would not define that as dating. Now, especially when you're young, please start off as friends. That means talking with the absence of romantic banter, or talking with the absence of romantic spaces, or letting somebody in that space of your heart. Because once they get there, it's hard to get them out. Hard. Especially if they ain't supposed to be there, but that's another. Talk. However, I would define dating as exclusively talking to somebody else who knows that you're talking to them too. We can have crushes all day. I had a few, like, you know, you got a crush on him or her or whomever, and it's just that. Or, and don't be, this is going to sound really scary, but for the sake of your feelings, and in hindsight, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. You know, what are we doing? Because it was real popular at one point. Oh, we just talking. Oh, me and so we just talk. And you see them talking to everybody else too, you're gonna hurt. Your feelings are gonna get hurt. So I would say communicate for sure. And dating is, there's got to be some type of exclusivity, which means you and that person and nobody else. That's what exclusive means. So if that is there, I would say that there is some type of dating if it's in a romantic space.
Zoe, I just want to say one more thing. Y'all stop accessorizing, alright? A lot of y'all will do this thing of, we look cute together, you know what I'm saying? And I think you leave cute for shoes, you leave cute for outfits. It ain't a cute thing when you're talking about relationships. Like, yes, y'all may, it's a compatibility thing versus a cute thing, alright? So stop looking for, you know, oh, we gonna be the IG couple, we gonna be the Instagram couple, so on and so forth. That don't last. Compatibility lasts, relationship lasts, friendships last, okay? So stop all that accessory stuff. That's it.
Y'all did that one. Okay, so piggyback question, when is it okay to start dating?
Ooh, ask your mom.
Ask your mom.
I don't want to give nobody else.
Okay, ask your parents that question when they feel like it's okay and y'all talked about it. Next question. Can a Christian date a non-Christian?
Why? I am going to say, I think that you should think about the long-term benefits, the pros and cons of dating someone that's not a Christian. When we think about what Christianity means to a Christian, you know, that's where we discover our identity. That's where we discover our values, and we develop our belief system. So if I'm dating someone and I have all of this good on the inside of me, and not saying that the other person doesn't, but if they have not tapped into that, how is that gonna look in a relationship? Is this person gonna value me? Are we gonna have the same standards? So I would say, I try to go around the entire world before saying, no, I really don't think so. Don't shoot me, but I don't.
Can't be unequally.
I don't think, yeah. So Ms. Zoe just said about equally yoked. The Bible says don't be unequally yoked, and that is so important. for us to consider when we're trying to just get in relationships with people. We want to save ourselves as much heartache, pain, and stress as possible. And so I would say no.
Let me follow up real quick. So I've always heard this phrase, but I didn't know what scripture it came from, so I wanted to look it up for y'all. It's in 1 Corinthians 10 and 23. And this is something that I use for a lot of things that are gray areas for Christian people. It says, all things are lawful, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. So there are some things that are technically okay for you to do, but you have to keep in mind, is this expedient? And when I say expedient, is this going to help push me forward to wherever I'm trying to go? All things are lawful. It's okay for me to do it, but all things do not edify me. When I say edify, does it feed me? Does it help to nourish me? If you see this person, it's okay for you to date, right? But it's not going to push you towards your future, or it's going to hinder you from moving forward. Again, their values don't align with what you have. I don't think that it's expedient for you to make the decision to date somebody who has a completely different mindset from what you have in Christianity or in being a follower of Christ. And you can see that by the fruit that they bear, right? Are they meek? Are they kind? Do they have temperance? Are they long-suffering? Right? Is what they exude to other people the qualities that a follower of Christ does? Do they love other people?
First question. They love themselves.
Do they love themselves? Woo! Because if you don't love yourself,
You can't love me.
that's a word. Anybody else having been bad?
I think you might have just
Can a Christian date a non-Christian? Can it happen? Sure. Is it gonna be easy? No. Even for me, just wanting to talk about Jesus or talk about God or saying something about church back in the day with another person who didn't really believe in it and didn't have the heart posture to want to, it's hard. There are instances where it happens and then somebody get converted and whoop-de-whoop, praise the Lord. However, it's, oh man, that's a loaded one. But can it happen? Yeah, but it's gonna be extremely hard for you to continue to hold your values. I guess it's more so what do you value? Do you value your values or do you value making this other person happy?
Right.
Because if you are a Christian and you believe in Jesus and you live a certain way and this other person does not, is it worth you compromising your morals for whatever reason to make them happy? Because then who you serving, God or them? It'll be hard. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to.
So in the chat, they are talking about evangelism dating, and this is funny because this topic actually came up with me and a friend earlier this week. So should you date someone, not even that if they're just not Christian, but if they're not a believer at all, and should you date them in an attempt to save them or bring them closer to Jesus or God?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
That's a no.
Are you trying to play God? Like, are you loving this person so you can feel like you saved them? Because then.
Or you just want them so bad that you're like, you know what? In order for me to have them, I can bring them to what
That's
I'm.
a little manipulative.
I
It
think that's a lot going on in the relationship. Are you an evangelist or are we dating? Are we in a relationship? That's a lot. A relationship, period, has a lot going on. There are a lot of elements. And so I want somebody who, and maybe because y'all are young, y'all have all this energy and you're able to do all of these things, but when you get older, you're like, no, you need to come saved. You need to come knowing Jesus because I don't have time for it.
Yeah. No hero complex.
No.
Yeah, I would say don't use. That's a little creepy. Like, don't use evangelism as a means to get something else. Because that's a little manipulative to me. Evangelism dating.
No.
I never even.
It's a new term. Coin it.
Do we have to keep intentionality at the forefront, right? Like, what is your intention in regards to the evangelism dating? Is it evangelism or is it the dating portion? Like, which one do you hold in higher esteem? Because if it's the dating portion, if that's the portion that you hold in the highest esteem, then that's gonna come before their salvation, and that's detrimental to you and that person. And if it's the salvation portion, then you have to put the dating thing aside. Because the person can't focus on the God of their salvation because they're focused on you. So I think you need to separate those two things and make sure that they know God prior to you putting yourself in that mix.
Or you might be the only Jesus that they see. So if you're showing them what it looks like to love God, and then they fall in love with you that way, I mean, I guess that's cool. But going into it like, I'm going to save this person because I want their love be back. I don't know.
No.
And relationships show y'all flaws too. Like, if y'all get in a relationship, especially in marriage, like, somebody sees your good and your bad. So for you to be trying to evangelize in somebody, you can honestly be a stumbling block in a relationship because they see where you are falling in your walk, right? They see where you're struggling with your lustful ways, right? So keep that in mind. That may not be the best version of you for that person to see if they're just now meeting God.
Also want to add, you also you also need to remember the risk you're running, and very much count the cost. Because if you really think about a lot of the decisions that you make, it's because of God. Now imagine dating someone who doesn't have that moral foundation or standard. Because I'll just speak from a man's perspective. Why is it bad to cheat? Really? Like, why is it bad to hit the woman? Like, why is it bad to, like, why are these things actually bad? And in your mind, you're the Christian, and you're thinking, I know it's bad because I know it's pure, I know it's holy. And you're trying to get in a lifelong relationship with someone, and their reason for where their why is not your same reason. So then when you see that they're putting their friends' perspectives above yours because God's not their perspective or standard, there's a lot of things that you risk going wrong, including your own salvation, or not even your own salvation, but even your own peace of mind, trying to keep that person. Because another risk, really simple. Some of y'all better hope they don't get saved, because you're dating the broken version, and when they become whole,
They don't want you. They do not want you no more.
If and when they become whole through your evangelistic dating, and they realize who they really are, to God be the glory.
Somebody that actually do
That's all I'm saying about that.
Don't use Jesus as a fishing tool.
Because he might catch him.
Okay, someone asked, they said, I have a girlfriend and she's really nice, but lately it seems like there's just more pressure to do certain things.
Oh, Lord.
Should we break up?
I wouldn't say break up immediately. I would say talk to them about it. You know, I noticed that you've been pressuring me to, do things that I'm really not comfortable with, and maybe I didn't discuss my boundaries with you, so maybe now is the time to do so. And I think that conversation will let you know if this is something that you need to cut off, or if this person is willing to respect your boundaries, because you want relationships with people who respect you and value you enough to keep your boundaries.
That's good. I think boundaries are important, and if said person doesn't respect them, I would question their love for you and their love for your walk. Definitely communicate with this young lady and kind of whatever the certain things are that she's pressuring you to do. Hey, I don't want to do this, or I don't believe that this is good, or whatever. And in that, you'll kind of see a person's heart posture towards you and towards what you believe. So, I mean, don't just text hey girl, be done. But definitely be mature enough to have a conversation and just tell her how you feel.
I'm going to use my liberty as a married person to debunk a lot of things that the church has that the church has made negative. Sex is not a bad thing. It is sex within the right context, which is marriage, right? And I think we are all wired the same way, which is to be attracted to the opposite sex. So just keep that in mind, that people are still going to be wired to have those attractions. and those feelings. If somebody expresses that sentiment to you, okay, cool, but make sure that you keep that at the forefront. Is, all right, we can get there, just hold on, you feel me?
A huge hold on, 'cause y'all like 15.
Right. But
Hold on.
remember that it is in the right context. Sex is not a bad thing. Sex is not an evil thing. It's something that should be experienced within the context of marriage. So it's gonna happen, just maybe not right now or not tomorrow. All right? On to the next.
I also want to say that in every relationship, there's only two things that are happening. Either that person is building you up or breaking you down. And if she's asking for these things, she's clearly breaking you down. And it's not just about the sex, honestly. That's just how the devil gets his foot in the door. Because that's not even the real that's not even the real war. That's just one of the battles of you being broken down in other areas of your life as well. Because one of the good things, especially about a strong man, is that we have that resilience. So even when you've been put in a place where, for example, I'm sure you know the story of Samson, right? And after a while, at first he was saying, no Delilah, no Delilah, no Delilah, but he allowed her to still have his ear. And after a while, she started to break him down, and she took the one thing from him that only God could give him, which was his strength and his resilience. So again, it might start off as just asking for these certain favors in these areas, but it's going to drift off in other places as well. So just pay attention to those red flags, because if you think that's the start, that's only the beginning.
So, a couple of people mentioned healthy boundaries, and I think that that's something that you need just in any relationship that you have, any kind of communication, connection that you have with people. There should be healthy boundaries. Sometimes we have to let people go if they're not able to respect our boundaries. So, I guess in the context of even friendships or romantic relationships, how do you handle heartbreak?
Heartbreak.
And again, your heart can be broken in a lot of different ways. It could be done by family members who might not have met the expectations you placed. It might just be friends that had to fall off. Heartbreak is, go ahead.
I'm just gonna try to keep it really simple. Heartbreak, life, anything, the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. So I'm not gonna just give you advice on what you should be doing. I will say the one thing you don't want to do is just keep yourself alone and seclude yourself after that heartbreak. You need to find family, you need to find friends, you need to be spending time with people who do love and care about you. Even if you stopped hanging out with them because you got a relationship, you can stop seeing other people, you need to remember where your help comes from. So definitely don't seclude yourself. And I'll just say that part.
That's good. I would say know that heartbreak is a part of life. It's a part of maturing as a believer. There are going to be many times when our heart gets broken, even when it isn't romantic relationships, but it's a relationship with a close friend, and you want them to do one thing because you know this will really benefit them, but they do something else. Or when you see a friend going down the wrong path. It's many different ways that our hearts can be broken, and I think that when you do experience that heartbreak, know that you're not the first to experience it. Like Amos said, pull on community, people who can build you up during this time, speak life into you, and guard your heart next time. The Bible always talks about guarding your heart. And so pretty much what everybody said on the panel is just making sure that's what boundaries do. Boundaries help you guard those sensitive areas that have the ability to really break you down. And so when you do experience a heartbreak, you like, nah, fam, I'm not gonna let you in. I'm gonna establish some boundaries because I've felt this pain before, and I don't want to do that again. And so I think, that's it.
I would say in the process of moving past heartbreak is you have to start with forgiveness. I think a lot of people still have the pain or those scars of heartbreak because they haven't been able to let that person go, and they still have some sort of ought in their heart towards that person. whether it be infidelity, whether it be cheating or something like that. They've held that pain in from whenever that happened. So when they see that person, or they see their Instagram, or that person's face just pops up on whatever social media, that pain comes back like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You have to forgive that person. And when I say forgive, that doesn't mean that forgiveness means that you guys reconcile and you get back in a relationship, or y'all are cool and y'all amicable again. It just means that you no longer hold that person accountable, right? Or you let go of that accountability for the hurt that they caused you, and you move forward, right? So they don't have to be in the same place. They don't have to be your girlfriend. They don't have to be your buddy, but you have to let that pain go. And once you let that pain go, that allows for your heart to start to mend, and for God to start to mend that broken place in your heart.
That's good. I think, like, even with that, I would ask the how, because that's usually the big question, like, how do I physically do this? What are the steps? Because I'm going to see him or her at school tomorrow or whatever. One, I would say don't allow people to guilt trip you out of your boundaries. If you, especially with the excuse that I thought you was a church girl, blah, 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 you go to church, you supposed to, no, I'm not being mean to you. I just have a boundary, and I don't want to see you in homeroom, so I'm not going to sit by you anymore. I don't want to, I have put this boundary up to where you might have hurt my feelings, or I just won't allow you to talk to me in a certain way, or you won't allow certain things to be done around you or done to you. Those are your boundaries, and the door to your boundaries is as wide as you make it. Your boundaries could be a fence. Your boundary could be a whole concrete wall, but it depends on how you build your boundaries. But don't let people guilt trip you out of your boundaries. That's one how. Another how to physically get over that person is to, in time, and whenever you get strong enough, to have the conversation like, hey, you kind of hurt my feelings, or whatever happened, that wasn't cool. I ain't really like that. And then ensuring that your forgiveness process is your responsibility. If somebody responds in a way that just ain't cool, like, oh, I forgive you for this, and they bring back up whatever it was, and they're trying to make you relive those emotions, that's not your problem. You are deciding that you want to be free from whatever hate, whatever aggravation, because whoever angers you controls you. If you can't see Tony in the hallway without your heart beating fast and you get mad all over again, you probably still feel away. So if you just seeing a person makes you feel away, you haven't forgiven them. So I would say be intentional about understanding that whatever you choosing to forgive them is not bad. You choosing to have a boundary is not bad. Yeah.
Can I ask something? I want to touch on what Mike said. Another way you can get over a heartbreak or start the mending process is to let go of your expectations. So whatever a lot of times our heart gets broken because we have crafted this idea of this relationship and how this person is going to treat me, and how our relationship is going to grow and prosper. And then when they let us down, it's like we're just like, oh my goodness, like I'm heartbroken. And so when in an effort to pick yourself up, one of the hardest things you're going to have to do is let go of the expectations, and know that if God didn't allow a relationship to work, well, the Bible says don't awaken love before it's time. So maybe it's not the season for you all to have that relationship that you want. And so you releasing them and just saying, hey, God, like, I don't know, like, I'm really hurt in this situation, but I'm going to trust you. And if this is not what you want from me, then I know that it's something that you have better. And this heartbreak is just a part of the process.
Yeah. That was good, Joe. So we have a couple more minutes. This time has just flown by, but I really want to make sure that we touch on work relationships. I know as we have a lot of creatives in all of our youth groups, and a lot of them have started their own businesses, and some of them are even old enough to start working on their own. So I want to make sure that we're touching on work relationships. So someone asked, I get so annoyed with the people at my job. How can I learn how to be around people that I don't like?
Ooh.
You have to learn to forgive quicker, because all I can say is the frustration that your parents or your siblings are putting you through right now is only training grounds for the next season of your life where you're going to be at work, because people are going to keep trying you. That's just the atmosphere might not change until your heart changes, until your perspective changes about the situation, until God gives you vision for exactly how to do the situation. You're going to be just as trapped and bitter as the people you work with. Also, there's going to be people who are going to try to come to you just to gossip. People are going to try to come to you just to waste the time, just to complain about us working here as if we're not going to be here for the next 8 hours. Like, again, you need to make sure that not only are you forgiving quickly, but you're still being a light. And that doesn't mean like literally walking to everybody and just laying hands and just speaking in tongues and prophesying over your supervisor. That simply could just mean, for example, I'll give you a perfect example here. About a week before I got my current promotion, I was cussed out by my supervisor in front of other people, which made it even more just disrespectful. No one said anything while I'm getting cussed out. And when I got cussed out, it was by something that was actually something very, very minute. And even after the entire thing took place, of course, if I would have said back what I wanted to say, I would not have gotten the promotion I currently have now. So, and then on top of that, the funny thing is, the promotion actually has me currently working in HR. So, of course, it's like, after I got the promotion, I could have reported, I could have said certain things, I could have tried to get my revenge, but I'm still letting God handle the entire situation. Ever since those moments, I've even been getting more blessed on the job. And again, all I gotta say is God will handle what needs to be handled. Again, you do what you're supposed to do and God will do the rest. Because even if you tried to touch every single area that's happening in your job, you literally can't do it. You actually need God to make an influence where you work. And I will stop there.
That's good. I get so annoyed with people at my job. So one thing about it, and two things that's for sure, is that if learning how to see people as God sees them will really humble you about your opinion about somebody. Everybody could be getting on your nerves, like all the way, but God still loves them so much. Seeing them from a different perspective, sometimes we have to take ourselves out of it, as hard as it is, because if so-and-so is getting on my nerves every day, how am I even supposed to take myself out of my own emotions and love them like God does? It's hard, but it works. How can I learn to be around people that I don't like? Same thing. You don't have to. That you don't like, that you don't. You don't have to be buddy with everybody, and that is okay. However, being respectful and being cordial will get you a very long way. Being respectful, having love, and being cordial will get you farther than your resume. So love them like God loves them, and make sure that you're always respectful and cordial.
Okay, really quickly, we'll just do one for each of these last ones. Someone said, I started my own business, but it's hard for me to sell things to people I don't know. How do I get more people to know about it?
I'll take this one. This is marketing 101. Number one, you have 3 different types of people. You have people who are going to support you no matter what. So those are the people that you want to start with. You don't want to try to reach to anything higher than what's already right in front of you. So just go for the easy wins, because what you need to do is you actually need to build up resumes and kind of like case studies of basically people who like the product and are actually wanting to purchase it. And then the people who later said, hey, I would never purchase something like this, those people are going to want to purchase it later because they want to jump on the bandwagon from the people who started, who already would support you no matter what. The third audience are the people who don't even know who you are, who are complete on the outside, and that's how you end up changing the world. I'll stop there.
That was for me.
Okay, you guys, we might have to have a part 2 because there were so many things that we just weren't able to cover. But we so enjoyed being with you guys tonight. I'm not even like in front. We enjoyed being with you guys tonight, and we want to make make sure that you guys go register right now for Little Fires Everywhere. Go to @NYYouth. You're already on here. So click the link in the bio and sign up. Bye.